رمضان 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 يا حبيب رمضان رمضان ليتك دوما قريب.
Allah Jalla wa'ala. So he wasn't crying only with the fear and azab of Allah, he was crying with the love of Allah because he feared the displeasure of Allah Jalla wa'ala. He was the true lover of Allah Jalla wa'ala. This concept constantly we will think about throughout the month of Ramadan. Allah dekh raha hai. Allah, the moment your eye wants to look at haram, your ears want to listen to haram, your tongue wants to say something which is haram, constantly remind yourselves, Allah dekh raha hai. Allah knows my state. Allahu Akbar. Sallallahu ala Muhammadin nabiyyin ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim wa salli alayhi. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma narrates, O sinful person, do not become fearless about an evil death, bad death. When you commit a sin, once you've committed a sin, then do not commit a greater sin after that. It is as if you have become shameless. You have no shame. You have become immodest and you do not care about the two angels that you have with you. The angel on the right and the angel on the left. He says, O sinful person, do not become fearless about evil death. You may die a bad death, an evil maut. And he says, if you've committed a sin, then after committing the sin, do not commit a greater sin. Meaning, have remorse, have nadama. Fear Allah and make tawbah, not commit a greater sin. Why? He says that the angels that you have on your right and on your left, if you have no shame of them, then that itself is a greater sin than committing a sin. If you become shameless, then that is a greater sin than committing the sin that you have committed. And he says, if you have committed a sin and then you are happy about it, that is worse than just committing a sin. Once committing a sin and then being happy about it, I've committed a sin and you're pleased about it, you're happy about it. There's no remorse, there's no pain. He said, even though you do not know how Allah Jalla wa'ala will treat you. And he said, you tried committing a sin, but you couldn't commit a sin. And if that makes you upset, if that makes you sad because you couldn't commit a sin, then he says that is even a greater sin. One is sinning and being happy. That is a big sin. And he says it is a greater sin that if you tried committing a sin, but you couldn't commit a sin, and you were upset about it. He said that is a greater sin than being happy after committing a sin. You're trying to contact a ghair mahram sister, and she's not listening to you. You're trying to approach her, and if you are sad about it, upset about it, I tried approaching her, I tried committing a sin, I tried befriending her, which was haram, but she rejected me. I was mardud, and because of that, you say that I'm sad about it, I'm worried about it. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu says, that is a greater sin. So look at the tartib, sinning, and then committing a greater sin after that, and then being happy. What is greater than that? He says the greater sin is that if you tried committing a sin, you couldn't commit it and you were sad about it, worried about it. Why couldn't I commit a sin? Be happy that Allah saved you from it. Thank Allah that Allah protected you from it, rather than being displeased and being upset about it. He says that if you're committing a sin and suddenly a strong wind blows and it lifts the curtain of your room, you're sinning, you're committing a sin. If you're committing a sin, you're committing zina, fornication, any sin that you're committing in your room, and suddenly the door opens. This is the example that he gives. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He says, you're committing a sin, and suddenly a strong wind blows and it lifts the curtain of your room. Your heart will have such fear. Did anyone see me from committing this sin from outside? You would be so scared that someone may have seen me committing this sin. He said, if only you understood that when you were committing that sin, you were worried about the one who may have seen you once. There is someone who's constantly watching you committing that sin. You are not worried about him. You're not scared of him. He said, if you are in that state, then this sin is greater than all the other sins that you committed. Imagine the state that we are in. Constantly sinning. People don't know about our sinful acts. And we claim that we have fear of Allah Jalla wa'ala, and we also know that Allah is watching us. Allah can see us. That is the message of Saum. That is the message of fasting. That is the message of this Roza in the month of Ramadan. To constantly remind ourselves that Allah is watching us. Sayyidina Ibrahim Taymi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, he talks about ikhlas, and this is for all of us, for each and every one of us. Du'at of deen, propagators of deen, those who give dawah in the path of Allah Jalla wa Ala. About ikhlas, true ikhlas in the fear of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Having true fear, and this is the training in the month of Ramadan. We will keep reminding ourselves, constantly we will keep reminding ourselves about the true fear of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Do we have this awareness, this consciousness of Allah Jalla wa Ala, knowing that Allah is watching my state, Allah knows the state that I am in? That is the message that Ramadan gives to us. Sayyidina Ibrahim Taymi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, he mentions a very important waqia about ikhlas. He says sometimes I would go to the graveyard, I would go to the Qabristan to create the fear of Allah Jalla wa Ala in my heart and to constantly remember death. I will die. He said, to remind myself about that, I would go to the graveyard. He said, one day I went to the graveyard and I fell asleep. He said, when I fell asleep, I saw a qabr. In the qabr, there was a person in the qabr and he was being punished. And what was the punishment for the person in the qabr? He said that it was being said that grab this zanjeer, this chain, grab this chain and place it in this person's mouth. Place it in his body from his mouth. Put it in his body through his mouth and take it out of his back passage. He said, Ya Allah, am I not the one who used to offer salah? Am I not the one who used to perform hajj? Am I not the one who used to give zakat? Am I not the one who was a qari of Al-Quran Al-Kareem, a reciter of Al-Quran Al-Kareem? Started to mention all his good deeds. He said that I heard this unseen voice. He said in front of people, he said I heard this voice publicly in front of people. You used to do good deeds. You used to offer your salah, your ibadah, your hajj, your qiraat of Quran. But when you were alone, you used to wage war against me. This is a war against Allah. Do you know that? This is to say, oh Allah, I fear dunya. You're not sinning because people are watching you. But when you're alone at home, you're sinning. This is the voice that was heard. When you were with people, then you used to act upon all of these ahkam. But when you were alone, you used to proclaim waging war against me. Elan-e jang against Allah, and you did not fear me. It's easy to say I'm fasting, I'm not eating, I'm not drinking, I do not have the intimate relationship with my spouse. If we are not eating, drinking, then we must also remind ourselves, why are we not eating and drinking? Because we know that Allah is watching us, Allah can see us. And when we are looking at haram, when we are saying which is haram, for such a person, Allah does not need your thirst and hunger. Allah is not in need of your thirst and hunger. Allahu Akbar Kabira. There is a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the fear of Allah. And I want to emphasize this point the most in today's gathering, that it is important that we really create the fear of Allah Jalla wa Ala in our hearts. And it becomes very easy when you're hungry, when you're thirsty, when you haven't eaten anything. It becomes very easy to create the fear of Allah Jalla wa Ala. And this is the month, and the message in that is Allah dekh raha hai, Allah is watching me. Constantly remind ourselves, Allah dekh raha hai. And this is what we will act upon, inshallah, for the remaining 11 months. That training, once the heart becomes stronger in the month of Ramadan, then we take that. Remember, our nafs, for 11 months, our nafs becomes strong. And for this 1 month, when we keep torturing our nafs, then the heart becomes stronger. Because when we are not listening to our nafs, we are training our heart, and our heart has become stronger, then the nafs will attack the heart for the remaining 11 months. This is a battle, it's a constant battle between the heart and the nafs. But then there will come a time when the nafs will become stronger, and by that time, inshallah, the next Ramadan will begin. And this training is constantly happening. It's a continuous training. This is why Allah Jalla wa Ala has blessed us with this great ni'mah of Ramadan. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when a believer sheds tears, and even one tear, and that is the size of the head of a fly, comes out of his eyes, and it drops on his face, Allah Jalla wa Ala will make him haram upon Jahannam. He will not enter Jahannam. Allah will make him haram upon Jahannam. This is the blessing of tears. of weeping and crying in the love of Allah, with the hope of Allah and the dar of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Something very important. This is to be in the company of the people of Allah, the blessing of being in the company of those who shed tears in the fear of Allah Jalla wa Ala. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once delivered a talk, a sermon. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam delivered a talk, and one person started to cry. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whenever I mention the talks of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's important we imagine that spectacle, that beautiful manzar of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam delivering the talk in the presence of his Sahaba alayhim ridwan. You know, this tasawwur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is the sunnah of Sahaba alayhim ridwan. When the Prophet ﷺ passed away, after this, the Sahaba alayhim ridwan, they used to imagine the presence of Rasulullah ﷺ. So Rasulullah ﷺ was delivering a talk, and then during the talk of Rasulullah ﷺ, one person started to cry. Rasulullah ﷺ said, if because of this one person, everyone would have been forgiven. Because of this one person, everyone would have been forgiven. Rasulullah ﷺ said, the reason behind that is because of him crying, such a special person, such a beloved of Allah, because he is shedding tears in the fear of Allah Jalla wa Ala, because of him, all the angels of Allah are crying. And they're making a dua. The angels of Allah are shedding tears and they're making a dua. The angels of Allah Jalla wa Ala are weeping and they're making a dua. What is the dua of the angels of Allah? The angels of Allah are saying, Oh Allah, accept the shafa'ah, intercession of who? The angels are saying, Oh Allah, for the sake of the one who is crying, forgive all those who are not crying. This is the dua. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if all the present in this gathering, all of them would have been forgiven for the one who is shedding tears in the fear of Allah Jalla wa Ala. This is why we need to keep company of those who have riqqa in their hearts. So that is the benefit. One Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salam. We know Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salam is a prophet of Allah Jalla wa Ala. Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salam, his father's name, what is the name of Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salam's father? Does anyone remember? When I ask you basic questions about deen, you should be able to answer these. Who's Yahya alayhi salam? What's the name of his father? Zakaria alayhi salam. This is basic ilm for all Muslims. We need to study. All du'at, all the dais of the Jamaat and all the members. Read the tafsir of Quran daily. Read Kanzul Fiqh every night. Read the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Learn the fiqh, learn the masail of deen. We will be questioned about this. Remember, we will be asked about this in the hereafter. If we do not know, a person comes to me, he says, I divorced my wife out of anger. But isn't this a big punishment? I didn't know about it. I didn't study about the masail. So if I didn't know, why should I be held accountable for it? So I said, your parents didn't tell you that it is fard upon you to study the fiqh of talaq and fiqh of marriage before you get married. That was the problem. Because no one tells us this is necessary knowledge. Before you get married, you have to study the fiqh of marriage. Before you become a businessman or trader, you have to study the fiqh of trade. If you don't study that, then you will be committing haram. Then when people give divorce to their wives and they say, I gave 3 talaq and now she has to get married to someone else to come back in my nikah. I said, well, that's how it is. You may think it's unfortunate for you to be a Muslim, but we believe the greatest gift is Iman. If you're a Muslim, then there's some sharait with it. You have to study the fiqh. If you got angry, you divorced her, now she's divorced. She's no longer your wife. There are many masail like this. Ilm is important. Not studying itself is a sin. Not knowing the necessary knowledge of deen, it's a sin. We will be held accountable for it. محترم احبہ، آج کا خصوصی ورد، آج کی رمضان گفٹ جو خاص تحفہ ہر ایپیسوڈ کے بعد آپ کو دیا جاتا ہے، یہ انتہائی اہم ورد ہے۔ اکثر لوگ کہا کرتے ہیں کہ گھر میں بے سکونی ہے۔ جب ہم گھر میں داخل ہوتے ہیں تو آپس میں اختلافات، جھگڑے اور نفرتیں ہیں، فیملی ممبرز کے مابین محبت نہیں ہے، تو محبت کریٹ کرنے کے لیے، گھر میں سکون پیدا کرنے کے لیے، دلوں کو قریب کرنے کے لیے یہ خاص ورد ہے۔ انشاءاللہ تعالیٰ آپ اس کو نوٹ کر لیجئے۔ اور اس کا ایک اور فائدہ یہ بھی ہے کہ اسی گھر میں، جس گھر میں آپ رہتے ہیں، اس میں داخل ہوتے ہوئے اگر آپ یہ ورد پڑھیں گے اور رات کو سونے سے قبل اگر آپ یہ پڑھتے رہیں گے تو اس کا ایک فائدہ تو یہ ہے کہ آپ کے گھر میں سکون پیدا ہوگا، گھر والوں میں محبت پیدا ہوگی، اولاد اور والدین کے مابین پیار ہوگا، بھائی بہنوں کے مابین پیار ہوگا، فیملی ممبرز کے مابین محبت پیدا ہوگی۔ اور دوسرا فائدہ یہ بھی ہے کہ اگر رات کو پڑھنے کی عادت بنا لیں گے تو انشاءاللہ تعالیٰ اس کی برکت سے آپ کو رسالت مآب صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم کا دیدار نصیب ہوگا۔ حضور اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم کے دیدار کا نسخہ بھی یہ درود شریف ہے۔ تو یہ درود خضری ہے، اس کو آپ جو ہی گھر میں داخل ہوں 3 مرتبہ یہ پڑھ لیں، اور اس کے بعد دوسرا درود شریف 1 مرتبہ پڑھیں، اور یہ بھی یاد رکھیں کہ گھر والوں کو سلام بھی ضرور دینا ہے۔ درود خضری کیا ہے؟ صلی اللہ علی حبیبہ محمد وآلہ وبارک وسلم، صلی اللہ علی حبیبہ محمد وآلہ وبارک وسلم۔ یہ خاص درود شریف ہے، صلی اللہ علی حبیبہ محمد وآلہ وبارک وسلم، صلی اللہ علی محمد النبی الامی وعلی آلہ وصحبہ وبارک وسلم وصلی علیہ۔ Brothers and sisters in Islam, today's special gift, special Ramadan gift for today, it is to bring barakah, to bring blessings in your homes. A lot of people complain that when they go to their home, they feel that there is no sukoon, and there is no peace. There is no peace of mind. There is no peace of heart in the homes, and a lot of arguments take place. And with family members, there is a lot of hatred and nafra. So to avoid that and to bring about blessings and barakat and love between the family members, this is a khas wird, and this is a wird of sending duroods upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a special wird for salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is a khas durood. It's a very special durood. This is called durood khizri. Durood khizri. So the blessings of this is that if you make a habit of reciting this, and the practical method of reciting it that I will give you inshallah, if you act upon that, that will bring about inner serenity, sukoon, tranquility, peace of mind, peace of heart in your house inshallah. Then there will be a lot of love between the family members. The durood khizri is sallallahu ala habibih Muhammadin wa alihi wa barik wa sallim. صلی اللہ علی حبیبہ محمد وآلہ وبارک وسلم، صلی اللہ علی حبیبہ محمد وآلہ وبارک وسلم. So you recite this thrice when you enter your house, and then after that you recite the durood upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is a different durood, and that is as-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulallah. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulallah. You recite that once, and you also make sure that you give salam to your family members. And if you were to recite this before you go to sleep and repeatedly keep reciting it, inshallah ta'ala, you will be blessed with the vision of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam.